Hey guys, how's it going? Firebox here. SrslySoapy released a challenge a few days ago now with a total prize pool of $250. I want to briefly go over the rules and then we're going to go into the matches. In order to successfully complete this challenge, you had to create a level 1 character. If you die, you are dead for good. You are not allowed to be friendly. You can run away from players, but you cannot team. It is solo self-found, so no trading is allowed. I was required to stream the entire thing. I did it right here on my YouTube. The VOD will be in the description in case you missed it and you want to see the full matches in its entirety. Using red portals is perfectly fine, so using it for AP farming and going down deeper to increase your AP is perfectly fine. You can also reset your character to get base items back. So for example, if you were a ranger player, you could reset your character to get your base arrows back. And by the end of 15 matches, I had to get Pathfinder 2 rank and at least 39 plus kills. That said, I ended up completing this challenge on my second attempt, the first one being ripped away from me due to the lantern bug where your right click will work even if you don't press the button. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's go ahead and get started. As we go through these games, I will show off my gear upgrades and the PvP and some of my thought process. So my very first fight is against a cleric. Unfortunately, I don't really know what he was doing here. He tried to buff against a barbarian, full sprinting him with rage. That's not going to work. I do find a leather cap upgrade from this guy, which is nice. And I loot a skeleton and manage to find a Viking sword. I did just get that lantern bug, which is the reason I unequipped it. However, I did end up using a lantern later on because it's just too good. I find a fighter. Unfortunately, he hits me with the crossbow right away. But this is a kill challenge. I don't really have any healing because it's the very first game. I do try to use the health shrine, but I don't have time. I decide I'm just going to go for it. I need the kills. I loot his body, and there's a few upgrades. We get a bear pendant. We get a new pair of rugged boots, which are pretty good stats. We also find a better pair of reinforced gloves. A pair of cloth pants with 5 fizz power, which is extremely strong. I then go around and find a lizard cleric. He does unfortunately hit me with that judgment. I did try to back away. I'm trying to be careful here because of the smite up. That does do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, he ends up hitting me twice. I decide that it's not worth it to try to take that fight anymore. Clerics don't have any amount of chase. They're too slow. So I come back and decide to heal up and go back into the fight. I heard him fighting. I didn't know if it was him alive or not still, but I find him looting a body. I decided to go ahead and rush in, hit him with Achilles, and Flame's Mace has really bad range. And between that and Achilles, he just unfortunately did not manage to get a hit. I did get a pair of padded leggings to upgrade myself with, which is fantastic. We go back to our stash. I do purchase this Zweihander. And I go to the Goblin Merchant and decide to do some gambling. I do manage to find a quarterstaff with 6 fizz power. I decide that I'm going to use it even though it's off meta against the Zwei. I'm here in my second match. If you don't know, you can use all types of shrines to get 20 AP. And we are going to want to start AP farming, so I go ahead and use that even though I'm full. I find a wizard player. Now, because I don't have the torch secondary at this point, I'm using the torch instead to Achilles strike him. Barbarians counter wizard pretty well. This guy really doesn't stand much of a chance. I do check his body. Just has a great protection pot. I'll take anything I can get at this point, so I do loot that. I find a rogue. He does go invis, trying to find out where he is. There's a lot of mobs nearby. I don't want to accidentally get hit either and then get hit in the back. I accidentally walk into him here in this corner and one tap him, as is typical for Barb v Rogue. Loot his body. Unfortunately, not much here, but I do grab a green pot. Find a cleric fighting a Zwei Skelly. Now, during this fight, I was being very cautious, specifically because I did not want the Zwei Skelly to steal my kill. My goal in these games early was to get as many kills as possible because the higher rank you go, the more likely it is that I'm going to start finding the teaming lobbies, especially going into Pathfinder. So if I can get a kill lead really early on, it's going to really help the run. I do kill the Skelly first, and then decide to fight the Cleric in a more fair 1v1. Now, Cleric made a mistake thinking that he can cast his spells while you're getting chased by a Barb with Rage. Same as the first Cleric. That doesn't work. Loot his body, and I do get a blue protection pot. Now, I do find another rogue. He goes invis, but I don't want to take any chances. I don't know what kind of gear he has. So I decided to take the high ground, and I know for a fact that there is nowhere for him to go. All the doors are closed. He has to go somewhere. He decides to start trying to run. I hit him with the Achilles with the Francisca. Use the quarterstaff. I should have used the Viking sword instead because he does get away from me. Now, knowing that he might just run away, I do hit him with the last Francisca I have. I do get a really good loose trouser upgrade. Loose trousers are BIS for Barb. The faster you can move, the better you're going to be. I do see this Warlock nearby. I want to fight him, but I want to finish looting. I do get a really good pair of Lightfoot boots that have insane speed. And again, speed is king on Barb. Now, I'm going to fight this Warlock. Unfortunately, I do get hit by a Dark Bolt at the very start of the fight. Kind of unfortunate, but I'm going to use this tree while I have my red pot up to try to get a little bit of healing and have him waste his spells. Because, you know, every time he uses a spell, he loses health. He does start to cast Flame Walk. Now, this is, I think, a big thing that a lot of Barbs make a mistake on. You don't want to cast Rage early against Warlock. You want to wait until after they cast Phantomize. And if you have a lot of move speed, it's literally a free kill. When I have my Viking sword out with this move speed, I'm pretty much move speed cap. I do go ahead and take this Ring of Survival and the Tunic Cloak as well. And do some AP farming in Crypts, get 1300 AP. Also decide I'm going to swap over to the Lizard skin because I just couldn't find a good leather cap. Alongside getting 2 additional perks for additional HP and magic resist. We're in our third match, which to be honest was a pretty uneventful match altogether. I do find this naked skeleton rogue. Kill him pretty much for free. Don't really get much gear off him, unfortunately. And didn't see a single person the entire game. I decided to take a blue portal at the end to try and farm a little bit more kills before we started further Crypts red portal farming, which leads us into the Goblin Caves for our 4th match, and it is the only time I went into Goblin Caves, because the later on you go, when you start to really need to farm AP, it quite honestly just wasn't worth playing this map anymore for the challenge. This Barb really caught me off guard. I did not expect him to come down there like he did. He did get the first hit off, so I was a little bit nervous. I decided to just use my Frannies, and because I don't have a Zwei or Bardiche to defend myself, I figured, you know what, let's just do what Barb does best and throw all of our Franciscas. We do get some huge upgrades from this guy. We get a Zweihander, and we get a pendant as well. But just shortly after, I find a Bardiche in a box, and I decide, you know what, I want to use the Bardiche instead of the Zwei. I find a Barb, just got done fighting, but I don't think he was that low, to be honest. Now, I don't know how geared this guy is, but it's another Barb, and, you know, just in general, you need to be very careful. I use my protection pots, use Frannies to try to deal damage. He's trying to blue pot. Now, Frannies, I did miss a few there, but they're really good at popping a blue pot, because you cannot do headshot damage through them. So trying to pop it with a Franny is just so much better. Now, using the Bardiche, you can keep your distance from the Felling Axe, and as long as you hit them with Achilles first, you can jump backwards and then try to not take follow-up damage. I do find a really good loose trouser upgrade, as well as a Viking sword lantern combo, and a new cloak. I also get this bear pendant as well. Quite honestly, that barbarian just had a lot of upgrades for me. I then find another barbarian, start the fight, of course, popping your blue pot. I am out of Francisco's, so I cannot stop his blue pot, so I'm going to have to just fight him as is. He does wall himself with the fire, which seems like a weird decision, considering he's the one in the storm and I'm not. I'm going to play this smart. He's the one taking damage, not me. Of course, it's possible he just runs into the storm and leaves the area, in which case, that's fine. I just won't fight him. But I'm trying to get every kill that I can, especially since we're in Goblin Caves, and I'm not going to get a lot of AP from this game, just from the nature of the map. He's trying to teabag, but of course I'm not having it. The biggest thing for Bardiche vs. Zwei for me is the Zwei has bigger range, but the Bardiche second hit has a pretty good poke. Now, I do make a mistake here. I just barely missed him with the second poke, and my third hit, I think, hit the wall or clonked on something. I really felt like I should have hit him twice there. So I really got robbed. I'm getting a little bit nervous because that was a lot of hits. But I really don't have a choice here. I jump to try to not get headshot, and I get really, really close. This was the first close call that I had playing this game. And I'm going to be honest, I thought I was dead even just regardless. I thought I was just going to be gone to storm. Luckily, it did not happen. I go ahead and loot his body. He doesn't really have anything for me. Luckily, he only had a gray Zwei. If he had a better Zwei, I 100% would have been dead from that fight. And we do make it out safely. We are in our 5th match. I do find a rogue. He has his hands up, but of course, that is not something that I'm interested in. I do chase him down. Pop Achilles Rage, of course, as Barbarian does. He jumps up this rock, but I get stuck on the wolf. He goes invis, but it doesn't really matter. I do start getting hit by a ranger behind, which is kind of annoying, but it's a kill challenge. If I decided to just run away, then for all I know, the ranger might kill the rogue, and then I miss out on a kill. He is continuously pelting me with arrows, which is making me a little nervous. I am already down half HP. I think he had a lot of limb shots, which was fortunate for me. I don't know why, but he didn't chase, so I go ahead and kill everything, heal up, and go back to fight him full HP. He is keeping his distance, so I need to be a little bit careful. I don't want to get headshot because that will make the fight pretty problematic. I go ahead and pop Rage early to try to close the distance. He has to reload, which is really good timing for me. He misses his complete triple shot as well. And has only hit me one time. Whenever you're chasing a ranger, always make sure you're moving down to the ground as much as possible. Make it as hard for them to hit your head as it is. I don't know why he pulled out his melee. I guess he felt that he didn't have enough move speed to get away, which, looking at his kit, yeah, he was way too slow because of that double. Now, I found another ranger. I do pop my blue pot, and I'm going to do exactly what I did to the other ranger. I'm going to rage early. He's running into storm. I am trying to be careful of traps. However, I do need the kills, so I feel like it's worth it. I have enough distance gained on him at this point that I feel like I should be able to. Now, this guy has significantly better aim than the last ranger does. He does already hit me once. I throw my lantern, it misses, and then he hits me really hard. At this point, I don't have a lantern, the gate is not open, so I decide that the only real course of action for me is to just live to fight another day, leave the match, and, well, hopefully not die to this ranger. So I do make my way towards the guaranteed extract, praying that no one else has taken it. Luckily, no one was there, no one took it, and we're able to make it into the next match. Our 6 max went a little bit crazy. It started out, I found a naked rogue. At this point, our speed is fast enough that we are pretty much move speed cap with a Viking sword out and rage. So put this guy out of his misery and get out of this room because I don't have time to be fighting 6 skeleton archers. Do find a default barb, but we both have direwolves on us, so I decide that I'm going to fight my direwolf and then fight him instead. I could have just rushed him, but I figured I might as well just clear it just in case. He starts to run. Unfortunately, he's default barb, so there's not a whole lot he can do. Kill him in one hit. That's just kind of how it goes. Find another ranger who is placing down traps. Now, he doesn't really have anywhere to go. I do miss out on my Achilles, but my move speed is so fast at this point that he doesn't really stand a chance. Trying to heal up, and a rogue pops up. I'm going to start pushing, dodging his knives, although dodged one, hit one, which is fine. I do not have my abilities yet, so I go ahead and pop my stuff, but unfortunately he shuts the door on me. So he is going to get a little bit of distance away. I don't really know why he just stood there. If he just kept running, he might have survived this, but he decided to wait there and stare at me with a pickaxe, so I go ahead and kill him as well. Gonna go ahead and heal up with the shrine, and another ranger pops up. Unlucky for him. He doesn't really have a chance. He was way too close by the time he realized I was there, so that was just a free kill. Go ahead and take his blue pot. And there was a team of 2 chilling on the bridge. It was pretty obvious the gear guy was the one on the boxes, so I'm gonna go ahead and rush him first. I do manage to somehow kill him without him even touching me. I don't really know what he was thinking, but I don't know. I guess people just get so comfortable with the way that most people play, which is just teaming, that he just didn't really worry about it. I probably shouldn't have used the blue pot here. I don't really know why I did. It was kind of just instinct. But I do loot this barbarian who has some pretty good weapon and just gear upgrades in general. I do take his Viking sword, his cloak, and his lantern, which has +2 weapon, which are all really good upgrades. All the way, fast forward to the end of the dungeon, I am looting up the red portals for AP, and a ranger starts shooting at me right next to a blue portal. Now, on a normal circumstance, I would have taken the time, maybe even just left, but I need those kills. So, greed gets the best of me. I do push him. He almost kills me, and I managed to kill him with my final swing and make it out of there alive. Another very close death. It's time for our 7th match. I do have a rogue pop up just randomly invisible in front of me. I am really struggling here without having Crush, and to be honest, if I were to do this challenge again on Barb, I would probably take Crush as my 3rd perk instead of the Magic Resist, because just for general chasing, there are so many times where I was like, wow, I really wish I could break down this door, because Barb's resourcefulness is pretty low. Now, I am using an Invis pot here, which, rest in peace that, you can no longer do that on Barb, but this was the day before the nerf. I do get hit by the crossbow from the bard. I am going to just heal up before I enter. Again, keep in mind, I can't break down that door. So if I try to open it up with him sitting there spamming, I might get hit by the Shriek of Weakness and the minus move speed debuffs. Fortunately, he doesn't sit there and spam those. He does miss his crossbow, so I am going to go ahead and take this chance to get closer to him. Now, because of how quick I am, I'm able to pretty easily not get hit by the Shriek of Weakness. But at this point, he's way too close to me. I get the first hit off. He does get the weakness, but it's too late. Now, I do hear a rogue sheath their weapon, so I decide to forego the bard loot and just go ahead and heal instead to be safe. We're here towards the end of the match, and a fighter with a spear comes sprinting through the door, and the rogue from earlier that stole my loot is there. I don't really have the means to fight both of them at the same time. I could probably 1v1 either or, but I'm already 2/3 HP, and to be honest, the rogue, I don't really know if he's invisible in the room or not. Feeling like it might end up being the death of me if I stay in this game, I decided to go to the portals that I opened up earlier and just get some AP and hopefully kill somebody when we go down to crypts. Now, I do manage to find the fighter with the spear. It's funny, he tries to crouch at me even though he sprinted at me and hit me with his weapon, so there's no friendliness here. Unfortunately, I do miss all of my Franciscas. I don't really know. I guess he had the moves, or I just suck, one or the other. Now, when you're using the Bardiche, it does have a lot less range than the Zwei, or enough less range that you really need to utilize your 2nd and 3rd swing, because I feel like they just go generally further, and it makes it easier, especially to hit through shield. Like there, he tried to block, But I'm telling you, man, the poke, it's really good at just getting hits that you feel like you probably shouldn't have gotten. I oftentimes will just use the first swing to hit the air, and then use those second and third hits to kill players. We're in the 8th match now, and things seem to be going quite well. We have a lot of kills, and we are doing pretty decent on AP as well. I do find this Warlock player, I probably should have held the Rage. I talked about this earlier. However, I felt like I really needed to close that gap. I didn't want to get hit for free. Fortunately, torches are really good for chasing, and it worked out pretty well. This guy was reasonably geared. He had a lot of magic healing. He had magic healing on all of his trinkets, on his hat, and his spellbook. Found another Warlock here using the Falchion Crystal Ball combo. Unfortunately, he does hit me right off the side of the wall. I do go ahead and hit him, and I guess he had BOC because he didn't really have much of a chance there. He didn't keep enough distance, didn't use Flame Walk. Do loot these bodies. Don't really get a whole lot out of them, but I do get quite a few blue pots, which for Barb is extremely important. Wizard's pushing us now. All we really have to do to beat a wizard is just try to dodge his spells as best we can, and just hit him once with Achilles, and it's just done. I mean, that's the general gameplay of Barb v Wizard. Wizards have to try really hard to beat this class. Now, Fighter hitting me with crossbow bolts on the bridge. Hits me twice, so I decided to go ahead and go to the healing shrine to heal. I know he's coming. He thinks I'm low, and I am a little bit, but now we can have a fair fight. Go ahead and pop a blue pot for this fight as well, and just need to not get hit by this crossbow bolt. Jumping and looking down at the ground is also a pretty good way of trying to dodge crossbow hits. Hit him with the Achilles, but with his sprint, he did get away. It doesn't really matter, though. He took a full hit from the Bardiche and the Viking Sword, which just does quite insane damage. Now, go ahead and go to Crypts, and I get really lucky here. I find as Y, begrudgingly, I decide to equip it. I really wanted to do a full Bardiche run, but I go ahead and take the really good rolled Y. Now that we're in the 9th match, this was probably one of the craziest games that I had. Specifically because this, what I thought was a Timmy fighter, gave me the most trouble I think what I assume was a starter kit class has ever given me. His spacing during fights was immaculate. His blocks were fantastic. And he really knew when to engage and when to not engage. I gotta give this guy huge props because I know for a fact that my gear was significantly better than his was, and I got him very close to death multiple times, but I just could never quite get the finishing kill on him. And you'll see there, like, I have my axes out, he turns around, he blocks almost perfectly, and then he still has time to sprint into me and get a hit off on me. I really thought I would have had him here, but he even managed to block that hit, even after getting stuck by mobs. At this point, I'm gonna back away and full heal. And wouldn't you know it, we find him again, so I think, okay, for sure I can kill him this time. I get a headshot with the Viking Sword. He's got to be at least a little bit low, but he also campfired and got his second win back already. I make a little bit of a mistake here. I thought he would keep running, but he did not. Again, he has had really good spacing. I do just want to say, I think if I had a Bardiche in this fight, I would have killed this fighter. But I just, between his spacing and my inexperience using this Y, it's probably my least used meta weapon in the entire game. I'm pretty confident I could have killed this guy, but you'll see here, like, even I hit him with the Achilles, and he still, even though I aimed down low, he still managed to block 2 different hits. Like, you'll see, it's just, I just could not kill this guy. I wanted to kill him so bad, but now the third party started to come in, so I decided to just relocate and heal. I do find a Warlock, but I broke my rule of raging before Phantomize, which you'll see here. There's a reason I say that. It kind of made it so, like, if I had raged after he Phantomized, I would have killed this guy. But at this point, it became a toss-up. I know he was a little bit low, but he hit me for pretty decent damage too. And that longsword can do pretty good damage. I decided to go ahead and back up again to heal. But a rogue decides to run up on me. And, well, I'm feeling like I'm tired of not being able to get kills this game. So I do push him with the Viking sword. I should have used the Zwei. But I do keep really decent distance on him, and he just can't quite hit me with his dagger because of how short the range is. And this dude was kitted. He had 2 really good upgrades for us. He gave us a legendary cloak, and he gave us our legendary helmets, which means we can finally take off the lizard skin because we finally have something that was worth using over lizard, which is fantastic. Outside of that, very minor upgrades here and there. But overall, it's just, I wanted to leave this in mostly just to show I can't believe how good this rogue's kit was. And then we went down to Crypts and played Portal Farming Simulator because we do need to hit Pathfinder 2 rank or the challenge is for naught. Alright, so we're in our 10th match now, and this was a nail-biter. The PvP is getting increasingly more difficult. We have a player that we are chasing now. He does pop a blue pot and starts to run through the storm. Now, this is the big reason that I decided to prioritize move speed. If you want to fight anybody, sometimes you just have to build nothing but speed. I go ahead and hit him with the Achilles, and, well, the Zwei is insane as long as you can get up close. Hits him, kills him in 1 hit. Now, I am getting a little nervous. There's a lot of mobs up here, so I decided I'm going to jump down the well to use to campfire and stuff. But I hit a hunter trap. So, this is getting really scary. I decided to run for my life, and oh man, I was real scared after this game. I thought I was done for sure. We're in our 11th match now. I see a fighter. He is trying to crouch friendly, but of course, I am not interested. I go ahead and use the Zwei, go for his feet. Longsword, I'm gonna be honest, doesn't really seem very good against the Zwei. The Zwei is a really, really strong weapon, especially before this recent, 5 move speed nerf, but I think it's still really strong. But between the desync issues on server right now and just the general range of the Zwei, I feel like it's really hard to punish a Barb for using the Zwei. Now, this guy had okay gear. It really hurt me playing through these games and having to leave all of this crazy gear behind. Because the only thing that matters is treasure for AP. During, before they changed it for looted gear. But, you can't grab handled loot. Because if I don't get Pathfinder 2, of course I don't complete the match. Now, this is another example of why you want to use Rage after a Warlock uses Phantomize. Because it results in a pretty much guaranteed kill. I really try not to use my Rage before. Sometimes I'll do it by accident or just, I'm not really thinking about it. But in general, it just seems very good. Now, I just heard some people, a rogue, kill somebody. So I'm going to go ahead and go for him as well. It is a naked skeleton, but we are too fast and he is not able to get away. Unfortunately, because these lobbies are becoming more and more hectic as the rank goes up, it is getting harder to loot the bodies that I kill. So if you do not see a body being shown, just know it's very possible that either A, the loot wasn't that great, or B, I just really didn't have a chance to loot it. This ranger included. I really wanted to loot him, but unfortunately, I just didn't really get a chance to. At this point, the bodies don't really make that much of a difference. It's just the AP. I got on the crypts, do some portal farming, and we move on to the next match. We're in our 12th match now, and the stakes are definitely getting higher. Not only are most PvP fights becoming more geared, but we also are getting so close to completing this challenge that I don't want to have wasted the last couple hours and then lose this late. I'm taking no chances. Find a rogue here that pops up out of nowhere. And, well, instead of taking the risk of him either getting away or somehow killing me, I decided to utilize my Franciscas for range because this game is won, through ranged combat. That's just kind of how it is right now. So, we are going to look at this guy's loot. He has some okay stuff, but again, we cannot loot any handled gear because it's a complete waste of time. Do find this Barb. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really want to fight this Barb because it's kind of a coin flip whether we were going to win or not. We were both Zwei Barb. I had no idea how good his gear was or not, and we were so close to completing this challenge. I was just being overly cautious. I think the problem with this fight was he had about 8 Franciscas, and I only had 3. So he had the range advantage. I thought he was out. He wasn't, so he got a little bit of an HP advantage as well. So at this point, we're on the bridge, and I'm about to fight him, but he pops Blood Barb. I cannot fight him with that ability up, or he will 100% win that, because, you know, he'll hit me with the Achilles, and either I can't move, or I have to move, and then I full heal him. So I'm going to keep kiting away. I know with the Zwei being as ridiculously strong as it is, I'm maybe 1 to 2 shots away from dying here to this Barb. So his blue pot is finally gone. I was hoping to get enough distance to get a blue pot used. Unfortunately, my second Zwei hit just barely missed, and his hit, to be honest, it felt like we were at about the same distance, so I think he got a little bit lucky with that second Zwei swing. Unfortunately, I didn't feel confident. We were both probably one shot. I decided to just leave and fight for another day and not risk the entire challenge on a coin flip barb fight. Alright, we have made it to the 13th game, and well, the stakes just keep getting higher and higher. I see a player here, has a blue pot popped. It is a fighter. Unfortunately, I waste my Achilles strike, but that is okay. I really need the kills. I'm a little bit behind where I want to be, and I really want to try to get as many kills as I can before Pathfinder, because Pathfinder rank is the moment that people really start to team heavily. Now, got 1 kill. Find another player, another fighter. I think I got lucky here. He must have been weak by the turning off the torches. I assume he was going to just hide and wait for the healing shrine. But we do some crypts farming, and we have made our way into Pathfinder rank finally. And you'll see here, we have 35 kills in Soul of Ruins, and we have 3 in Goblin Cave. So we're 1 kill away from completing this challenge, alongside needing a little bit more AP. Alright, we're in our 14th game, and while I know PDR Fighter is supposed to counter Barb, I have a lot of protection pots on me. We are alone, so the herd that is currently conforming on the bridge is not here to save him. I am hoping to try to get this kill and just farm some AP, and we can be done with the challenge. Now, he is sitting in the doorway, and some people asked me, hey, why didn't you just use the Viking sword because he's in the doorway? And no. Heater shield blocks the Viking sword extremely easily, and at that point, he just DPS trades me, and you die. So, the answer to this is not to use the Viking sword. The answer to this is to never take this fight in the first place. I only did it because I didn't think I was going to have another opportunity this game to get any more PvP. Now, he is using a recurve bow, which is very strange, but it's actually making it more difficult for me to fight this guy. If he had a crossbow, this fight would have been significantly easier, but because he had a recurve, it was a lot harder for me to keep pressure on, and easier for him to keep pressure on me, because all he really has to do is stand right in that doorway, and there's basically nothing I can do. Now, I do take this hit from the skeleton mage, which is really unfortunate, so I'm going to go ahead and heal up here. Now, unfortunately, this fighter is still standing here at the doorway, and this would normally not be a problem. I normally wouldn't care, but again, I needed this 1 kill. I'm sure he's full HP at this point, and there was no one else in the lobby I could kill. The entire lobby at this point is on the bridge, and you'll see it a little bit later in this video. So I'm really trying. Now, the circle, fortunately, is pushing him, so he can't just abuse the doorway like he is. I think it's worth noting, I think the Bardiche might even have been better here, because I think the Bardiche is probably better in doorways, because the poke is way more straight, and the other hits are fine too. Now, I am trying so hard here. But unfortunately, this Zweihander just... I am just not able to quite get enough damage on him. And I think he's low, but you never know with PDR fighters. For all I know, this guy has 70% PDR, and I'm doing basically 0 damage. The real counterclass to Barb is PDR fighter. On reflection, I should not have ever taken this fight. I should have just prayed and ran around the map looking for someone else to kill that isn't my direct counter. But I really wanted to just be done with the kill part of the challenge. Now, I'm getting very, very low, and if this PDR fighter has a lot of PDR, it means that he's not low at all. He hasn't even used Second Wind. He might be almost full HP for all I know, because that's just kind of how PDR fighter is. So I decide it is time to turn tail and run. So I am going to back away, go through the store, and you'll see the people converging on the bridge. Because, guess what? We're in Pathfinder rank, and it's not a myth, it's not a rumor. The moment you hit Pathfinder, this is the gameplay. And why I usually make new characters. So, we are down here, relatively safe from my understanding. No one else knows that we fought the fighter. Until he goes and tattletales on us, and, you know, once he tells the lobby that we fought him, we're gonna get hunted down. So I am contemplating just taking this extract, which is why I stopped healing, but I decided, you know what, maybe, just maybe, there's a way for me to get a kill this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and heal up here. Now, here is something you do not see every day. I honestly don't think I've ever seen this. There are 2 teams now in solos. A team of 4 trying to fight a team of 2. I am here. You know, I don't have VoIP on right now, so I don't know what's going on. I just know there's a massacre going on the bridge. But I want to try to pick one player off, and wouldn't you know it, a rogue jumps off right in front of me. This was a blessing in disguise. I didn't even know I killed him here. That's why I went looking for him. But turns out I got this kill. And at this point, as you'll see, I was getting chased by a team of 2. One of them was a Barb, which is already a coin flip as in itself. So I was forced to leave the game, which really sucks. Because now I have to play a 15th game because I have the kills, but I don't have the AP. So I need to get about 250 AP without teaming in this next match. Now, we're here in the 15 match, and this truly was something else. I didn't need any kills, and I was getting rushed by a Barb. He proceeded to chase me through a pretty decent part of the map, and he had a lot more Franciscas than I did. I had 1 stack of 2, and I was out completely, which was really unfortunate for me. So I decided to pretty much just run away throughout the entirety of the match. I'm just running around, trying to get my health back. Trying to find a place that's safe. He is still chasing me, by the way. And it's worth noting, if my speed was not like 108% here, I probably would have died. Or at least been forced to fight this guy and take the coin flip of, well, one of us is gonna die. You know, who gets that first hit, right? But I proceed to continue to run and heal. I think at this point, I've lost him. So, finally, I'm able to start healing, and somehow, there is a random guy all the way in the back of the map here who starts shooting me as I'm trying to heal. So things are just not going my way. Eventually, I decide, alright, enough is enough, and I just go down and decide to take my chances in the crypts because things are just too crazy right now up here, and all I need is a little bit of AP. Down in the crypts, I did manage to find a rogue, and these are basically free kills as Barb. If I see a rogue, I'm going to go for him, and at this point, I needed the AP, but I was really struggling to find treasure at this point, and I didn't know if there was a herd conforming onto the end game red portals. So, decided to get this kill, which is my 40th kill, and make my way all the way towards the end. Now, I did make a mistake here. I thought that the blue portals were going to spawn right where I was standing, Well, turns out I was wrong. The circle was closing. It was getting very late. I was getting tired. And I was thinking about just going into hell, but I wanted to just be done with the challenge. So I ran into the storm to take the extract. I didn't even think about the fact that it might have been taken and I might have just died. But that's what I did, and it worked. So, luckily, we did it. If you made it this far into the video, be sure to give it a like. I would very much appreciate it, and it does help the algorithm. Sub to the channel for future content, and comment below what you thought of this video. It took a very long time to make, but this was a really fun challenge. Thank you to SrslySoapy for giving me the 50 gifted subs, or 250 bucks, and for just having the challenge available. It was a fun time. Thank you guys all for watching. Have a great day.